Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Art's Place Live, number 94. We've got a great show for you today. Lloyd and I, we are going to discuss Mr. Potatohead. Then we're going to talk about, Disney cancels the Muppets. We'll talk about that. And also, we'll talk about Rand Paul grilling Rachel Levin. She's the person, I'll just call her person. Anyway. She or he is running, or is a nominee for Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services. So we'll talk about that and some other hot topics of the week. So, without further ado, let's get to my host, all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, Lloyd Mendenhall. Good afternoon, Lloyd. Oh, how about I unmute you? That might work. There we go.
All right, now I'm unmuted. Okay. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
I'm here.
Is
Actually,
it warming
I got a pretty
up
good night's
out there?
sleep. Yeah. Do what?
Is it warming up there?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been a little cool yesterday and today. It's been in the 40s and 50s, but man, the other day we were like 68 degrees, 69 degrees. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we got rid of all that snow, and now we're getting ready for the thunderstorms and the tornadoes and, all that other crap that comes up with springtime that's soon to be around the corner. So,
yeah. Well, we had some snow here Thursday, and about half of it is melted in the sunny spots of the yard.
Right.
But we still got quite a bit of snow on the ground, and up in the mountains, I mean, there's a lot of snow up there, and it's been kind of a cool weekend. We've been in the mid to upper 30s.
Oh, yeah. We've been warmer than that, but, we don't have those frigid colds that we had, a couple weeks ago. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, we're doing pretty good, though. It's Oklahoma. It'll change in 5 minutes.
That's right. Alrighty, so let's jump right into it. Hasbro has decided to drop the gender of Mr. Potato Head, so it was just going to be called Potato Head. So I guess
I don't know if you saw in the chat.
Potato Head is not happy with that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw in the chat what GFO drone tech guy just said, that apparently they've dropped that. So
yeah, that's right. They walked back, so to speak. They came around. They circled around, as Pisaki would say. That
well, it's not like Mr. Potato Head actually had. He didn't have junk. Okay, they didn't have an attachment for that. It's just like,
let's bring in Mike.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. Thanks for the link, Art.
Hey, you're welcome.
Hey,
we
Lloyd.
were talking about Mr. Potato. Well, Mr. Potato Head does have, you could change his appearance, so to speak. So He
He's
can't
always
have
been a cross-dressing
appendages
potato.
down there.
I don't know what the problem was. He's always been a cross-dressing potato. I mean, the potato itself, you just change out the hat and the purse, or you put on the
just attach an eggplant down there, and
the show started. It just already took a dive. Sorry, I probably started that, but
I'm just getting started.
The crazy thing, the thing is, that whole thing is, it's not so much about Mr. Potato Head. That's just, something that represents what's happening in our society. It's like, a toy is a toy. It's a plastic toy, if we were to boil it down to that. But it's like this whole gender,
neutrality,
wanting to almost erase the lines of gender. And, it seems to be, it's been going on for years, but there seems like there's a really sudden, real push, especially now with this new Health and Human Services Secretary or Undersecretary, whatever she is supposed to be. And, there's just all of a sudden in California with the clothing stores having to separate or not being allowed to separate boys and girls' clothes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard about it.
Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they took down
but
the signs that say boys' clothes, girls' clothes.
Right. It's just ridiculous, So it's like, what's next? It's it really
I
is
have to do my Rush voice as a little kid. Mommy, I want to dress. I want to dress like a queen.
Well, you think about it. RuPaul has a show on primetime TV. What is that called? The
Drag
race, or
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly not about muscle cars or hot rod association or anything. Yeah, and
well, they're muscle cars without the engine.
But this, I
they're
said
electric cars. They have an, plug-in.
Plug-in, yeah.
Okay. Carry on, Lloyd.
I think I'm at a loss now. I think I lost my train of thought. Where's that little character there? Where is he? Yeah.
There are just too many good jokes to go along with all this.
There really is. There really,
Well, you got to poke fun of absurdity. I mean, this whole thing is just so absurd, and it's just like you just shake your head. What the hell is going on? Well, I mean,
have either one of you ever seen them?
Some of our friends in Europe, they're not falling into that wokeness crap like France. France is like, ew, no, monsieur, we're not going to follow that.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, the whole scenario is weird because, we're racist or homophobic or whatever when we talk about this stuff, but yet, and we, and we're xenophobic if we talk about Muslims. They can badmouth Christians and any other group, but and Jews and all of that, but we can't talk bad about Muslims. But yet Muslims are predominantly anti-gay, but that's okay because
you never hear that in the mainstream media.
No, you don't. And
it should be.
They behead gays over there.
Right.
And this one, Art, not the other. Just to clarify.
Right. I guess another common method is like throwing them off a roof or something like that.
Right. Throw them off a roof or stoning them.
Just horrific stuff. And I and even, the beheadings, I mean, that's been going on for centuries for various things. But now, since, say, the Iran war, we've actually had video now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
if you want to find it. Of these beheadings, and I've actually watched a couple, and you can't unsee them, and
Yeah.
No.
they're not like out of a movie where it's a quick
one big
fell swoop. It's
no,
slow
it's
and methodical, and
yes, yeah.
yeah, it is the most psychotic kind of thing, and what is amazing is that more Muslims of sensible Muslims who have a real faith don't condemn that more. I don't know, why
Yeah.
that is.
Well, part of it is because if they do, then they're in big doo doo.
Right.
Yeah, because they're considered heretics.
Because there's a fear of being,
Right.
we don't like it, but we don't talk about it because,
Yeah. But even ones here
powers
in the
that
U.S.
be, they come. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of the how come they don't go after Muslim bakeries that don't want to make cakes for gays?
Yeah.
Isn't that? I mean, that's discriminatory.
Right.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and that's that is the two-sided face of the liberal left. The Marxist left. They
Right.
because they look at it as, well, Muslims are what's the word I'm looking for? They're a key. Their help, by keeping them in the country, keeping them at the forefront. There's division in the country. Of course, that's their idea, is to divide us and cause
That's
us
right.
to fall. So let's keep the derision and the division there. We'll keep them focused on, okay, we're not going to talk about the Muslims, but we'll let the right talk about them, and then we'll say they're xenophobic, and this just goes to show you they're racist, But I've been watching a series the other day, or this weekend, Inspector George Gently, and it takes place in the 60s in England, and it starts out in 1964 in the protest that started over there, which I decided, out of curiosity, to look up why were they protesting over in England like they were in the United States in the 60s? The same reason. They were anti-war, they were anti-establishment, they were
Young people.
they were young people, they were coming out of colleges, and everything I've found, believe it or not, all of the things they talk about, and I'm just talking in general, looking it up, they literally put it at the foot of the Beatles. They felt that and the change really started when they did Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, when they did that album. And that's when the protest really opened up. Because part of it was that was the first generation after the war. A lot of the parents were living in bomb shelters during World War II, and they wanted better for their kids, so they wanted to have them to allow more freedoms. At the same time, you had the socialists coming. I mean, they showed, and this show is trying to stick with the historical point of view, and it was amazing that to see that the early movement in the early to mid 60s, was based on socialism, and so they're dealing with it. They were dealing with it over there just like we were here,
Right.
And we've just continued on. It's just that line has just kept going. It started back in the 60s, and it's just, it started before that, but in the United States we had McCarthy to kind of kept it down for a while, and then Hollywood has been after us ever since. They've been trying to get back, but now, like I said, we've got we can't talk about Muslims because we're xenophobic and anti. We're racist, and they want us to keep focused on that stuff so we can talk about that stuff. So we're not looking at the fact that they're basically trying to neuter all of us. And this goes back to the women's movement. That's what they equal rights, the women's rights. They wanted to neuter the male. Now they're trying to pretend males don't even exist.
The sad part is they've done a pretty good job. In many ways, it's the guy where men are walking around, confused and not knowing what to say, and all those movements, the environmental movement, the anti-establishment movement, the whole free education movement, the gender thing, all these things fall under the socialist, communist umbrella of getting rid of the capitalist system and attacking Christianity. That's always been the glue that held this country together. Even during the Civil War, there was, a respect of each other's Christianity, and so it's and Christians unfortunately haven't learned to fight back that well until recently, until talk radio has come in, and now a lot more social media, but now our social media is under attack by either it's Amazon Web Services or Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, and I like you said, these social media places being taken over. Of course, I've always said the way that's the first thing they attack. And they've been doing it for years. They started out with our news, mainstream news and radio. They attack those first. You go to a third world revolution, and that's what they do. They that's how they control the people, the populace. The news is by taking over their broadcast,
the radio stations and
the radio stations. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And also, where are the feminists? I mean,
exactly.
They're allowing these transgendered boys to compete in girls' events, like volleyball, basketball, softball, and all that. And they're breaking all these records, but I mean, the records don't mean anything because they're not women. They still have the XY chromosome.
Right. No matter which way you slice it, no pun intended. It's it's a guy. It's an altered body,
right?
But it's a guy, or vice versa. And if people want to do that to themselves, fine. They have to live with the consequences, and the consequences, unfortunately, I think studies show that aren't good. The level of suicide and depression, and the thinking that the surgery is going to make me a happy person and I'll be myself, it just doesn't come to fruition.
Yeah. Well, it's more than surgery. It's also the hormone treatment. And that's going to affect you in different ways. Can you imagine a guy, all of a sudden, he's not getting testosterone, he's getting estrogen? That would drive any man crazy.
To be honest with you, women with estrogen drive most men crazy anyway. So
That's right.
Somebody had to say it.
Right. We all are thinking it.
Yeah, somebody had to say it. Yeah,
it's
but it's you ask
it's
where
funny.
are the well, go ahead.
Well, back in the 70s, remember the 76 Olympics, Bruce Jenner was, one of the decathlon, and I just happened to catch a little video of that yesterday. And in 1978, when I had my spinal cord injury, I was in the hospital, through one of my roommates working for a grocery store. General Mills had something going on, and sure, Bruce Jenner came up to the hospital, and was visiting with everybody, and everyone was starstruck and all this stuff. And the guy was gigantic. He's he doesn't come across on TV when you saw him back then, but he was built like a tree. back then. You had to be to win to the decathlon. And,
Yeah.
you think that guy could declare himself a woman nowadays, and if he were young, compete in the Olympics, or whatever. I mean, the whole thing's absurd, and so,
Yeah.
and now with the whole sports thing. I mean, it's on the face of it. So much of this stuff on the face of it is absurd.
Yeah. Well, you see, I was going back what you asked earlier about where are all the feminists? Well, they did their job. They neutered the male. They eradicated the male. Now they've got the male switching sexes, and they also the actual founders of the feminist movement are all either dead or dying off or growing old, and there are no, the feminazis have gone. I mean, the original founders of that, who said they didn't need any men, and well, they got what they wanted. Now they're completely. Unfortunately, they're also getting rid of the women. You start eliminating one group, the other group's going to follow. Now you got men who are dressing as women, wanting to participate in women's sports, and people are wondering why that's happening. Well, that is part of why. That's part of what happened. It was their. I mean, you just look at the Soviet Union, look at Russia. You got the president there, Vladimir Putin. At his age, he's out there showing him, bare-chested, muscled up. And we have Biden, and we had Obama, who the only masculine gene in that White House administration was Michelle.
Oh, I mean, have you seen Obama throw a baseball? He throws like a girl.
And it goes left.
Yeah, it goes left. Yeah. But
for some reason, I keep thinking of that West Side Story song. I feel pretty.
Yeah, but
the funny thing, though, you were talking about the feminists. I'm sorry, Lloyd, but you were talking about the feminists.
Go ahead.
Where would, say, a 1970s Gloria Steinem stand on this? You know what I mean? Like, it's absurd. I would think she then would say, transgendered men cannot participate in girls' sports. It's ridiculous, unfair to the girls. But unfortunately, it seems like people on the left, they like Ted Kennedy, the Ted Kennedy of the 60s, or, John F. Kennedy, would be a conservative Republican today. And where someone like Ted, just kept going further left and left and left.
Yeah.
And so they don't even hold to the standards that they started out with, And
Right.
So, we've gone into now bizarro world.
Yeah. I keep thinking about this new movie coming out with Doctor Strange and the Madness of Multiple Universes, or whatever it's called. I feel like we've entered into a alternate universe, and this is it. It's like, but.
And speaking of media, Disney has canceled the Muppets. I mean, I grew up on the Muppets. I can't think of anything they have said or done that wasn't woke. I guess they weren't woke enough.
Right.
Maybe Miss Piggy should have been more transgender. I don't know.
How could?
Yeah, I mean, the Muppets were pretty woke. I mean, there's, but they were also funny in a traditional sense too. But I don't know what Disney's using. Do you know what it is specifically they're like pointing at as a problem?
Well, I think it really goes back to Jim Henson, because I talked about this a little bit on my show last night because back in I think it was the early 60s, late 50s, Jim Henson did commercials for Wilkinson's Coffee, where he had, like the first version of a Muppet. And if
Right.
you weren't drinking
Right.
Wilkinson coffee, he killed you. He either, pulled out a gun and he shot you. And I guess, that's just too violent these days. And these woke idiots over at Disney said, oh, we can't have that. We can't have Jim Henson. He's the founder of the Muppets.
Yeah. Well, Disney's
It-
gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
Like their traditional cartoons, Snow White and even Lady and the Tramp, whatever. They would never make those type of things today. Snow White is racist, and the whole thing is just ridiculous. And now there's always some woke message, hidden, embedded in these new movies they come out with kids, and that start them on this journey of wokeness. And this next generation coming up, kids that are like 5 years old now, God knows where they're going to be when they're 20.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Rodney
wondering
says
how
Walt's
long
turning
will
over in
it
his
be
grave.
before Jeff Dunham gets canceled?
Yeah.
Because he's associated with Disney.
Really?
Because his managers are part of Disney. I know his manager, Judy Brown and Steve Marmel. They're his managers, and Steve Marmel, he works for Disney. He was originally at ABC, and then when Disney bought him out,
I think Jeff Dunham would probably be okay because, yeah, maybe he'll be dropped by Disney or his managers, but I bet you there's some other people out there would love to manage Jeff Dunham, And
mm-hmm.
I watched.
Right.
I don't know did you guys see the debate that he did? The Biden Trump debate
No.
that Jeff Dunham
No,
did. It is hilarious. And the thing is he was equally brutal to both sides. He treated them both. He made Biden out to be a blithering. Biden wore a shock collar, and every time he said the wrong answer, his wife would hit the button and, oh, I said the wrong thing. I'm off script. And then the Trump character was just as bad. So he treated them both with equal disrespect.
Right.
And there's times where you can maybe see he's got just a little bit to the left, but he really tries to stick straight down the center,
Right.
And but he laughs at both sides. And that's what comedy's about. He's the master. He's become the master of comedy, not just in reality. He's not that good of a ventriloquist. He really isn't that. There's far better ones out there. Terry Fader.
Yeah.
No, the gal from God, I should know her
Sherry
name.
Lewis?
No. The new young lady that's
yes.
won America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent.
Yeah, I should know. She's from Oklahoma.
I
and,
think her name is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy Lynn. Yeah. They are far better than Jeff Dunham. But like Jeff Dunham says, because I saw one of his where he talks about ventriloquism, and it's not that you're that good of a ventriloquist. You've got to make the character come to life.
That's right.
With good material.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you watch him, you can see his lips are moving, and you can see that he's doing this, and it's just like it's one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
You can tell, but he's good at playing both parts against himself, which
Mm-hmm.
split personalities help with that too. I know.
Right. Most comedians are a bit off,
Hey.
Right, Art?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and
But,
I've worked with Jeff a couple times. I've worked with other ventriloquists that, I mean, there's a thing in stand-up comedy. We look down on ventriloquists because, those people, they play with dolls. They have dolls that have to.
says
But
the man
what's
who
different with
has the
Jeff.
Ken Heron doll.
Yeah, there you go. Here's.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what Jeff does is
You got Jeff
he's got
Dunham beat
good
there.
material, and he knows how to get those characters to really come to life.
And it has to do with his material, but his material is always relevant. It's always, I mean, I can look at Walter. I can listen to him all day long because I see myself in Walter. Except I got better hair, But,
we all see you as Walter.
Most people do. my own kids think of me as Walter, And that's why they don't watch my YouTube channel. I said, Walter's funnier. Same attitude, just he's funnier. But, that's the thing. I think Jeff Dunham will be okay in spite of Disney. Yeah. And
Right.
I think Disney will eventually, first off, eventually we're going to get rid of these knotheads in the White House now. They'll be gone eventually. I have faith in the American people. So a lot of Democrats are already having buyer's remorse over it. And the far left aren't happy with him either. So,
Yeah, they're not happy he's not pushing harder.
Yeah. I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but this is kind of going into something else that I saw this week. He is doing a bad job when you got Mitt Romney saying that Trump could win in 2024. Yeah, Mitt Romney said that. Okay, that means the world is totally screwed up. We have entered an alternate universe,
right.
An alternate reality. Because I actually heard him say it on one of the news. He says, at this rate, Trump could win big in 2024. Not 2020, but 2024.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, even guys like Mitt Romney are starting to admit that Trump was better than Biden,
Yeah.
Well, and he'll become the second
Rodney.
president if he happens to win, he'll become the second president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms.
Which was Cleveland was the first one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, he's talking about moving America forward, and then right off the bat, he kills a bunch of jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's really moving us forward. Yeah.
Right, and he favors the pipeline over in Turkey, but not in the Dakotas. Absolutely absolutely
Well, that's because the pipeline in Turkey, that's not the United States. It benefits them. It doesn't benefit us. But the pipeline going through our country, that would benefit us. So they've got to be against. You got to think about the Democrats are always for the opposite that would help the country and the little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say they're for the little guy, but they never actually help them out. All they do is make things to keep him the little guy. They don't want people to prosper because they know prosperous people tend to vote conservative or Republican. So
and they don't need the government.
Yeah, that's right. And so they try to keep as many people, many couples under $75,000 or $5,000 per person, because then they're dependent on government. It's like, this gets me a whole nother rant, because I live in public housing, or sort of public. I'm on Section 8.
Right. Subsidized.
And my rent just went way up. And I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are taking almost 60% of my paycheck. What the heck? And then they want me to jump through these hoops. And then I find out if I go through these hoops, they're only going to knock maybe 10 or 15% off of the rate. And I'm like, it's not worth it. It's like, and that's what I'm convinced that the whole Section 8 thing is just to keep people from advancing. They don't want to help people to get out of poverty. They want to keep them in poverty and dependent on those people. And that's why I'm seriously thinking about retiring at the end of the year and moving the hell out of Colorado. Go somewhere where the cost of living is cheaper, and I can actually buy a house.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
What was the percentage originally, Art? Because my first apartment was a Section 8 apartment here, and this was back in 1983, 82. And it was 25% of your income would be your rent, whatever your income was. So, it's a higher percentage now?
Oh, it's much higher because, okay, last year I was paying $707.
Wow.
This year it's $837. I mean, that's more than one paycheck. Because I'm making, hey, thanks to the city government here in Denver, they've now taken a semi-skilled job and made it equivalent to flipping hamburgers. I am now making minimum wage. Thank you. Yeah. And now they want to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Yippee! That's going to screw up people that's only to benefit people that have union jobs, because union jobs are tied to the minimum wage, because then they get that percentage of an increase in their salaries. So think about those guys in the auto plants. They're making something like $35 an hour. Well, after this, if it gets passed, and it won't, it's going to get stripped out at the Senate. They'll be making $60 an hour. And these idiots, they don't realize this is just going to jack up the cost of everything.
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it still doesn't benefit. I mean, the people making minimum wage there's so few of us that are making a minimum wage. Right. It's something like less than 10% of people are making minimum wage.
And they always use the argument like, well, nobody can support a family on minimum wage. You're not supposed to support a family.
Support a family. It's supposed to be the first rung on your way up the ladder.
Yeah. Right.
You get job experience. You got a job history going. Then you learn more skills. You start moving up the ladder. And now they take that lower rung out, and you just can't get to the next rung. And it just screws.
Right, it's less jobs for young people. Ends up happening,
all those fast food jobs, they're going to go away, because it's going to all be automated. It's all going to be automated kiosks and all those. And I know that in the future they're going to do away with indoor dining at these fast food places. It's going to be like the old McDonald's. Remember the old McDonald's where you just
Walked up to a
walk
window.
right up and you order and then
Yep.
you eat out on the patio there
Right.
where
Yep.
they have picnic. It's going to be like that. And then you don't need to clean the inside out. All you have to do is you have people cleaning up the fryers and the
Right.
ovens and whatnot there, and that's it.
Yeah.
You'll only
Mhm.
need a handful of people instead of 15 or 20 people to run a hamburger place.
Well, look at Sonic
right.
hamburgers. Oh, there, my other light finally came on. But look at Sonic. That's the way they run their restaurants, and they're very successful.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have Sonics in your part of the country or not, but we do
Yeah,
down
we do.
here. And
Mhm.
there's no dine-in. It's all drive-in. You drive up, you eat in your car, they come out and deliver to you. Summertime, they actually come out on roller skates sometimes, depending on how skilled the waitress is. But, their only problem is they hire idiots. But, it's, that's, and they eventually move on and become skilled idiots somewhere else. But,
Mhm.
it's a format that, that's, I remember as a kid, that's the way all hamburger joints were. You drove up, we had a Mel's, well, not Mel's, it's, I think it's over there on Federal Boulevard. And it was a drive-in. Both my sisters worked there in high school.
Right.
And I can't remember the name of it. I think it was Mel's, but that's not it either. And it's, it had the big star-looking thing, the glow. You may not, it's probably not there anymore, but it was the kind of, you drove up and you pushed the button and they came out and delivered it to your car.
Right. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they didn't have all that to worry about. If you wanted, most people, if you were going to a restaurant, you went to a restaurant,
Mhm.
but if you were just want hamburgers, well, there's the drive-in. Look at A&W. And now they've pretty well gone downhill because they got away from that formula and started selling fish with their hamburgers. I never understood that, but that's,
But it's funny, if you notice, like McDonald's, they still have dine-in and all that stuff. But you'll see a line of cars a mile long around the place where you could just get out of your car, an able-bodied person, and just walk right in and be in and out of there with hotter food instead of waiting in the line, pissed off, wasting gas. The laziness in people of not wanting to park and get out of their car, it's something I don't understand.
I have always gone in until this COVID thing came up, and when they shut down the inside, at least here in Oklahoma or in Muskogee, they shut it down for dine-in for a while.
Right.
And ours actually moves pretty quick. My food's, from the time I order to the time I'm driving off is just about as quick as I could get as if I went inside, and I don't have to make the walk back out. So ours is running fairly efficient, but even then you go inside, you're still using a kiosk, and it's like, and I just refuse to use a kiosk. If I'm going to do that, at least I get to talk to a human being when I order through the drive-through.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Well, guys, I'm gonna check out right now. My internet is still squirrely, Art, and and also
You need
I think Trump's
Ethernet.
supposed to talk in a minute.
Ethernet mic.
Huh?
Get an
Ethernet?
Ethernet cable. Plug
Right.
it in. Don't use Wi-Fi.
It's funny though. It's like I think it's with so many people home. The whole pipeline is slowed down. I did a speed test, and I was getting 200 something the other day, and now it's in like the 60s. So it's all over the board with gaming and all the
Yep.
I might
Live
have to up my
Netflix.
program.
Well, I have a system where I can check my speed as it's coming into my modem and then check it in the house. And here I've been complaining about my low speeds, and it truly is the routers and stuff, because I'm getting 450 down to the house.
Wow.
After that, it drops. Of course, I've got a TV in the back that's running on Wi-Fi. I've got a phone I'm watching right here on Wi-Fi. I'm using this on Wi-Fi. And, that all the different things I've got coming in, my tablets are all fired up, and that does take away. But I've got 450 coming down and
Wow.
50 going up.
Wow.
But that's at the modem.
Oh, you got good upload. I get 700 down and about 18 up.
Oh, no, even on Wi-Fi, I'm generally getting 35 to 40 up.
Jeez, I've got dial-up
I'm
compared to you guys.
I'm, connected. I don't have Wi-Fi on this machine.
Yeah,
Everything else is Wi-Fi. My
mine
phone
is too far away.
My TV. Well, that's cable. So that. Wait a minute. No, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, they're both.
Yeah, because I have cable internet, and that goes to my Wi-Fi, and that plugs into my TV, and then I've got a couple computers. Oh, my Roku is hooked up to it. And
Right.
Yeah.
my sister, she's got CenturyLink, which I call Last CenturyLink, and I checked her. She just got a new laptop, and I was testing her speed on it. She was getting like 8 or 9 download and maybe 2 upload. And I was telling her about my speeds, and she says, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna check out, guys.
Okay,
But,
take care, Mike. Thanks
all
for
right.
coming in, and
Thanks.
we'll catch you next time.
All right, I'll see
care,
you.
Mike.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye, Mike.
Alrighty. Okay, so let's jump into our last comment. And we kind of alluded to this. Rachel Levin. She's a nominee for Under Secretary or Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services. And Rand Paul had a really interesting questions that he asked of her, where he talked about genital mutilation of children.
Right.
And how, some kid as young as, 3 years old wanting to become a girl, and she would not answer the question.
He asked it 2 different ways, and she still didn't answer. I said, well, let me put it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and this is also the same person. Remember when this COVID started taking off? Remember what Cuomo did? He put patients that had COVID into the nursing home. Well,
into the nursing homes.
That's what she did in Pennsylvania, because she's part of Health and Human Services of
and she also made sure that her own mother was not in a nursing home.
That's
same
right,
as Como.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody put in earlier, I can't remember who it was, whether if I can find it, talking about they were, they're going after Como first, and then they're going to go after Biden next. So I can't remember who put that up there now.
We're going after who first?
They're going after Como. They're going to get rid of Como, and the far left. They're trying to destroy him, and then they're going to try to destroy Biden. Because it was TDR drones. The American Tinker has a great story. The Dems are going to take out Como and then turn to Biden. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And
that made sense. I thought you said Kamala. You said.
Did I? No, I said Como, and then I said Como, and then Como, Kamala, whatever, Camelto, whatever her name is. No, Como, the the mayor of New York, and
No, he's
you know,
not
there's
the mayor.
the governor of New York.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
All those idiots in New
You
York.
forgot your prevagen again.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but yeah, there we go again. That happened again. Yep, I have those moments. Seems I have more of them lately. Lately, I've been having a lot of these squirrel moments. But I was going to go somewhere with that conversation. Well, one thought. Okay, the United States wanted to pride themselves back in 2012 when we elected the first black president. Was it 2012? When did Obama get elected? 2008.
2008.
2008. All right, 2008. I've slept since then. So the person they pick is Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely the worst representative of the black community that I think they could have elected. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go along and, time rolls along. We get Trump and, all that stuff happens and blah, 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 blah. Now we've got the first female vice president. Again, they've thrown in another one that's just an absolute winner. It's just like Kamala Harris has
Slept
just
her way to the top.
Yeah, and she's the worst excuse for. First off, she had to drop her campaign running for president because she couldn't even get enough.
Yeah,
it was dismal.
Support.
She was like at the bottom of the. She was at the bottom of the barrel.
First one out.
She was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yet now she's the vice president in line to be president. Wow.
Yep.
It's but yeah. What were we talking about now? We were talking about the nursing home and Rachel Levin. Yeah. I was talking with Grant, who comes in to this show a lot, and we see him on a lot of other shows. They're looking at it from the Australians. A lot of the Australians are really conservative like we are.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, not to sound derogatory, he says, but this is a person that has had a sex change or transgender, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're a pediatric psychologist advising parents of children on whether their children should have it. Sorry, but that a bunch of red flags going off there. Sorry.
Yeah, you're true. You're correct on that. I mean, that's just so it's like, okay, so you're a child psychologist. You think it's okay for parents to have their kids go through essentially genital mutilation?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where the state should step in and say, no, you're not going to do that, because that's not what a responsible parent would do.
Right. Well, and just the fact that this person, there's other red flags that I see there too, that, this is a child psychologist, and yet they're not even sure about their own sexuality. And it's just, it's the creep factor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like a creep factor 11 on that. It's just like, okay.
Yep, that's true, Brian.
Little did he know that she would never get one vote. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But Gerald Ford.
Well, yeah, look at Gerald Ford, never elected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, he had that whole Watergate scandal over his head, and that's what doomed his presidency.
Yeah.
A lot of people were pissed off that he pardoned Nixon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the end, they finished. I don't know if they ended up if they actually got articles of impeachment against him out of the House, or
no, they never got.
Never did.
They were getting towards to where they were going to bring up
Right.
articles of impeachment, but that never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. They ended up dropping it when he resigned. So
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say this, but man, I hope Biden makes it 4 years. I really do, because the alternative is Kamala Harris, and I do not want that.
Yeah, that's
I'd
true.
put up with a senile president right now, but even the Dems are asking for him to not be allowed to have the, please share the code with other people. Don't make you the sole authority.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to share it with dingbats like Omar,
Yeah.
or Talib from Detroit. Yeah, let's share it with those people
Yeah, exactly.
who would launch a strike against Israel. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, TDR says you can't have a former president sitting in federal prison. That's true. Yeah, I don't see it happening. Although, boy, them Dems were sure trying with Trump. They really
the
were
reason
pushing.
they're doing this, they want to make sure Donald
can't run
Trump
again.
doesn't run.
Yeah. What is their newest ploy to try and discredit him? What are they got anything new, or have they kind of given up on
They're
that?
going to go after him, I think, with state or other federal charges by saying he incited a riot. Well,
Yeah.
somebody sent me a message about there was some radical who actually set off a bomb at the Capitol. And this happened many years ago.
Oh,
Well, this
yeah.
person went to prison. Guess who pardoned her? Bill
Who?
Clinton.
Bill Clinton. Oh, yeah. Who was that? It wasn't Ayers, was it, that did it?
Ayers, no. Ayers,
No.
he was part of the Weather Underground.
Okay.
Yeah. He never got implicated or.
I agree with you, TDR. I think you're right. I think Don Jr. will probably run.
Oh.
I see it that way.
And, the thing about his son, he's a pretty good looking dude.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help him out,
Well, his age,
young, vibrant looking.
yeah.
He could easily take the day. I mean, and no more of this orange man bad.
Yeah.
Not Mark Rich. It was a woman who said, you know what, I'll Google it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Of course, Bill Clinton should have never been president anyways. He was a throwaway president, or he's a throwaway nominee, which I think in some ways was what Barack Obama was supposed to have been. They just didn't think he would, that Obama would, of course, we didn't have anybody. Yeah, I've been listening to Don Jr. for a while, and he's I agree that for one thing, we do need to quit electing old guys. These guys that are on their last leg. It's just this is where I got fed up with W. With George W. When he picked on Cheney for vice president was in my opinion was a mistake. He needed to have gotten somebody. Yeah, he was. Bill Clinton was. And I've said it before. I'd put up with Bill Clinton again as long as I didn't have to put up with Hillary. I'd put up with Bill Clinton again before I would any of the rest of these clowns. But DeSantis,
it was. It was the bombing 1983. It was the M19 terrorist group.
Okay.
And some of the women were later arrested, charged with lengthy sentences.
83.
Yeah, and I think that person was
Yeah.
that person was pardoned by Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
It was, and Mark Rich was he was another scumbag. He was a bundler for the Clinton. Mike DeSantis. He's another guy. I used to like Nikki Haley, but I think with her comments about Trump, she pretty much, sunk her chances of. Now I could see her getting possibly a VP spot or a cabinet position.
Well, what we got to do is we got to pick people who are not guided by. We need to find somebody who's got conservative values. We need to find somebody who's got values.
Yeah.
And that especially conservative. Yeah, I think TDR is right. Nikki Haley is a non-factor. I mean, anybody who comes out like that, how do you trust somebody? It's like a lot of times, like when people would defect to Russia, they'd get somebody to give them a spy. They'd give them information, or an American would slip them this information, give them this information, and then defect to them. They'd kill them. They said, we can't trust them. That's what they did. If they would betray their own country or their own party, how can we trust them? And I feel the same way about Haley right now. There's a bunch of people in the Republican Party I feel that way about. And it's time to get rid of them.
Liz Cheney.
Who?
Liz Cheney.
Oh, yeah, Liz Cheney, yeah.
Congresswoman from Wyoming, who's pretty much the third senator.
I'm going to let you approve that one, but I got to agree, Chris Wedgeworth. Not necessarily wording, but Biden has values. He just can't remember them. So if you want to approve that one, that's fine, or you want me to. Yeah, it ain't going to hurt. There we go. So, and, I wonder how much, since Biden has become president, I wonder how much the stock value of Depends has gone up.
Yeah. Well, how about Prevagen?
It probably went down because he obviously isn't using it. Yeah, they probably lost. Yeah, the House clowns that have been voted to impeach Trump probably will be voted out.
Jason Crow, Jason Crow, he's in a district that's leans Democrat right now, and he could still be vulnerable if we get the right candidate. But the problem with Colorado is the demographics have changed so much that I don't think it'll be quite a while before we get a Republican governor, and it'll be quite a while before we either take one or both chambers of the state assembly, and it's going to take several generations to weed out all the liberals on the state Supreme Court. And I don't know if you've been hearing, there's a big scandal in the judicial system here in Colorado. Turns out there was a woman, they were going to fire her. She was involved in the judiciary, state Supreme Court and the circuit court and so forth. But she wasn't a judge. They were going to fire her because of mismanagement of funds.
Right.
And she said, well, if you do that, then I'm going to spill the beans on all the sexual misdeeds. So they gave her a job for a couple $1 million. And all this came out in both the Denver Post and the new paper, the Denver Gazette, had published what's going on in the state judicial system. It is a mess.
Yeah, it's well, we're going to have to. There's going to have to be a lot of house cleaning in a lot of states. We had one gal as a congresswoman that voted, and she was a Democrat, and she voted to impeach Trump. And the first time, you know, well, she didn't vote. She didn't vote to impeach him the second time.
Oh,
because she was already out of office. She lost.
oh, well,
they voted her.
There you go.
Yeah, they voted her butt out. You know, she lost in the primary. I mean, she didn't even make it past the primary. You know.
Oh boy.
And and they told her, her constituents who she was the only Democrat we had representing the state of Oklahoma. She's from an area called Little Dixie, which is down in the very southeast corner of right along the corner of the Panhandle of Texas, the bottom of where that Panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma meet down there. And her constituents called and said, "Do not vote that way because we will vote you out of office." And I mean, the polls in the state just showed that she was gone. And she went ahead and voted against Trump, and she was gone.
Well, I think that's going to happen with Liz Cheney. You know, the Wyoming State GOP has censured her. But the problem is, you know, she's got the money and the name recognition.
Right.
And that's going to be a big hurdle. But I think she could be knocked out in a primary. I think she'll be gone. Mitt Romney is another one I'd like to see.
I'd love to see him gone.
That guy's a big spender. He's going along with a lot of the Democrat spending crap. I mean, but that'll be for another day. We've already
we've already gone over, haven't we?
So
wow.
I want to thank you, Lloyd, and Mike for coming to the show and being part of this, and I want to thank all you guys in the chat. Thanks for coming, Brian, Chris, Mike, Michael, and all the rest. Thank you for coming, Lloyd. Any last comments?
Well, you know, that's what I always say. Be kind. Treat each other better than you treat yourselves, because this would be a better world. Remember, all lives matter. Even Democrats.
Well, thank you very much. And everybody in the chat, you have a great Sunday. God bless you, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.